Hello and welcome to the show. Today we're going to continue on the challenges of selling your fintech ideas in Nigeria or whichever part of the world. The only reason why I'm making it Nigerian specific is just because currently over here we have a bunch of boys and girls running around trying to start fintechs, and we keep on getting the news in the blogosphere and on the podcast about who raised millions of dollars for their fintech. And sadly, we also then hear, another month or a couple of weeks later, the next round of fintechs or, fancy startup ideas that have died. And my thesis in making this series of podcast episodes, not the podcast in general, but just the last, two or three episodes that I've made so far, is that if you have sales and business development involvement right early in your startup idea, your fintech idea, then the chances for your business surviving or your fintech idea playing out goes up dramatically because you're able to achieve buy-in, and most importantly, you're able to validate your business idea that it's a product or a service that its time has come, there's demand for the idea, and this is something that can work. Because a bunch of folks have folded up their fintechs or their startups because they haven't been able to raise funding. And it's my thesis that the reason why you've not been able to raise funds is because you haven't been able to demonstrate that this is a workable idea to begin with. Because if it's a workable idea, even though Nigeria is tough and things are tight, people should be willing to throw more money at it so that they can so they can reap their rewards on the back end. That's why people invest in businesses to begin with. So, with that intro out of the way, just in case this is your first time listening to the show, that little spiel I gave should bring you caught up to speed. Okay, so today what we're going to look at is a problem that you guys have in the fintech space, in the startup space, and that is that there's too much technical jargon. Well, first off, since you're selling in the financial space, or fintechs by definition are trying to work on problems that they perceive in the financial space. There's loads of financial terms and stuff that you have to deal with to begin with. Then you now throw in technical jargon into the mix, technical lingo, all that fancy tech stuff that you tech bros and tech sisters like to talk about all the time. Now, the problem with the jargon and the lingo and the in-speak is that it is complex and it is off-putting to non-experts. And believe me, I'm a reasonably intelligent guy. And, sometimes I listen to the shows and I listen to you guys talk, and you guys are just going on and on and on, you guys and girls. And it's plenty of in-house speak. You guys know what it is you're talking about. But then the everyday average person, like me, we have absolutely no idea what it is that you're talking about. Now, this is really, really problematic, and it would help if you guys try to use synonyms or try to express yourself much more clearly. So there are some terms that make a lot of sense to you guys who are in the business, but that mean nothing to us. Now, let me give an example. There's Web3, and then there's blockchain. 2 episodes back, I spoke about how I was speaking to someone who who went to my alma mater. That's because he has a business that they can put academic records on the blockchain so that your verified school credentials can be viewed by universities in another part of the world. Now, this is a very handy solution because back when I was serving in Kano and I had to sort out my stuff so I could apply to the University of Aberdeen in Scotland, I had to go back to Kano to go and pay. Okay, well, I didn't go back to Kano because I knew someone who could make the payment on my behalf, but it was just a nightmare. Basically, you'd have to leave Kano, go back to OAU, and then pay. And then OAU, that's the university. I think Unilag also would not give you the transcript. They would have to send the transcript through registered mail, and I think OAU was using registered NIPOST. That's the Nigerian Postal Service, which is also a nightmare. So you're there trying to get your stuff done. I was serving in Kano. Some people are working in Abuja or in Lagos or whatever. So trying to orchestrate the whole thing, make sure that everything is going on okay, was a nightmare. It was a hassle. Then a week passes, 2 weeks passes, and you're wondering. OAU said they've sent it. You call your school abroad. Your school abroad has not received it. So this person I was chatting with, I can't remember if it's called Akowe or Kawe or something like that. they've come up with a way that you can have verified academic records put on a blockchain so that people abroad can easily see that yes, your first class was a first class, and that your 4.5 GPA was a 4.5, and you got this, you got this, you got that. Now I have no idea how all of this works because I don't know what blockchain is. Well, I know that blockchain is a distributed ledger, so that means you have a bunch of people who are trying to track certain transactions, and well, let's just say it's a distributed ledger. So a ledger is a store of records. Distributed, it means that tons of people are working on it. Because tons of people are working on it, you can't falsify the records because it's hard to get other people that you don't know to start falsifying records because you want to cheat someone. And so because of that, blockchain is secure. But the thing is, everyday guys like me, I can see a mobile phone, I can see a web page, I can see lots of stuff. So blockchain, it just sounds like it's up there in ether. Web3, means absolutely nothing to me. So when you start off the conversation with an everyday ordinary guy, like when the founder was talking to me, and you start off with that whole Web3 blockchain, blah 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 blah, the person has absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Now, because I was curious and I'm interested in new kinds of businesses that are starting up in Nigeria, I was pressing and I was asking questions, and that's how I was able to understand this core idea. So if you come to this conversation and you are talking to potential customers, potential investors, and you're starting off with grammar that people don't understand, you can see that you're already making the job of selling your fintech much more difficult than it is. So you guys need to look for synonyms and look for ways to express yourself more clearly. So whenever you say Web3 or blockchain, or whenever you start talking about verticals, I wonder why, sorry, excuse me, you folks, sorry, one moment. Sorry about that. Still working through a sore throat. So, yes, as I was saying, you guys in the Web3 and the fintech space, startup space, I don't know why you guys like saying vertical, vertical, vertical. Yes, saying vertical sounds cool. That makes you sound like, I don't know, you listen to American podcasts and you studied in Harvard. But in this part of the world, when you say vertical, apart from the boys and girls who know what's up, most people don't know what you mean. If you just say industries, people are like, okay, okay, and they'll follow. So I don't know why you guys are wedded to this whole thing of we're working in this vertical, we're trying to optimize that vertical, this vertical, that vertical. Just use words that everybody knows. Environment specific, relative to the environment or the context that you are. So when you're talking about Web3, verticals, use case scenarios, latency, redundancy, 5G, blah, 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 all those things, believe me, you're losing lots of folks in the process. But the thing is, you're trying to gain a general acceptance for your business ideas because you want the public to understand what it is that you're trying to do. Because the more people that understand, the more people that get on board with this, the better. You're trying to gain investment. You're trying to deal with people in stakeholder organizations, and not everybody understands this in speak. Because trust me, you're trying to get buy-in from people in CBN or Ministry of Finance or Securities and Exchange Commission. Not everybody in these places knows what Web3 means or blockchain means or redundancy means. And for some people, unfortunately, when they hear 5G, what they think of is brain cancer. So, well, of course, we have to thank the WhatsApp forums and forwarded messages for all that misinformation. So, bottom line, you guys try and use synonyms, try and express yourself much more clearly. And then instead of speaking in terms of features or technical terms, you should be speaking in terms of benefits. So instead of, 5G, just say twice the speed of your current internet provider or twice the speed of MTN or something. Or, you get the point. If you're running around saying 5G, 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 people don't know what 5G means. Oh, by the way, I'm just guessing that maybe 5G is twice the speed of 3G. Sorry, 4G. Yeah, 4G is what most of us currently have on our mobile devices. So I'm just guessing that maybe 5G is twice faster. That's just a guess. So if that's the case, instead of saying 5G, 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 speak in terms of the benefits, which is twice the speed of this your MTN phone that you're using right now. That one, people get. Then instead of, blockchain, 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 speak in terms of benefits. The records that we're going to generate, they can't be hacked. They can't be falsified. People can get that. People in the financial space, they can get that. Oh, okay. This back to Kawe, or is it Akowe, the fintech, the guy that is putting what's it called, academic transcripts on the blockchain. So if you explain it like that, to the university administrators, now look, this record that you put here, nobody can hack it, nobody can alter it. That's something that they can understand. If they want to get into the nitty gritty, yes, then you have to start explaining the technical this and this and that and that. But the thing is, you show up to Nigerian universities and you're talking Web3 blockchain, Web3 blockchain, you lose a bunch of folks. But if this is something you can put on the internet, and once you put it there, nobody can change it. Okay, that's the benefit. They understand. So instead of talking Web3, speak in terms of the benefit. Instead of saying three-factor authentication, to most folks, you can say nobody apart from Kunle, Tade, and Garba, can access this system. That's something that people can understand. If they need to know the specifics, you can go into the whole thing of, okay, technically it's called three-factor authentication. So Kunle is holding the phone. Garba is holding the the dongle, and then Afolayan, he's the one that has the password to the email or whatever. So before anybody can hack into this thing, you actually have to kidnap Kunle and Garba and Afolayan and put them in the same room before you can hack into the system. So, and then instead of speaking of redundancy and latency and blah, 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 just say faster speed or the service is not going to fail. So just speak in terms of benefits. Like, oh, okay, you remember that time 2 weeks ago, the way that GTB was just failing anyhow. GT Bank service failed for 3 days. You couldn't make any transfer. Okay, you remember how that happened? Okay, with this service, with this tech, I can assure you that will not happen. The service will not fail. Instead of talking about how, unlike GTB, we have redundancies and latencies built into something, 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 something. That sounds impressive. It sounds fancy. But chances are, the person you're talking to might not understand what it is that you have just said. So the benefit of simple speak or speaking in simple terms is that non-technical people, because there are people who want to understand, which is the reason why those of you who follow me on LinkedIn, I notice that you're in Web3, I start trying to have conversations with you guys. Because to be honest, I don't know the difference between Web 1 and Web 2, not talk of the difference between Web 2 and Web 3. So I'm curious. I want to know. So you're going to be able to carry along non-technical people who might be your customers, who might be your investors, who might be operators of this technology, or who might be other stakeholders. You're going to be able to get them to follow what it is that you're saying and to achieve buy-in for your product, for your service, for this app, for this app's website, for this Web3 crypto fintech thing that you're trying to start. Now, there are times when it is appropriate to use technical lingo, because I am not saying get rid of technical speak altogether. No, that would be irresponsible. When you're talking to the technical user, that is when you can do all the technical blah, blah, blah. If you're talking to the technical person, then please use all your lingo. You say this is blockchain, something, something, something. The person says, what about ISP, blah, 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 AHTP? You say, no, this one does not apply, because by the time you run protocol this and something, 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 and you inversely transact and connect to this node, that node, you people will be communicating because you know what's up. So if you're with a technical person, use all the technical terms, because you people are talking your special language. It will now show that you know what's up, you know what you're talking about. The person will understand you. But then for a simple person like me, if you're talking about node to node intermissions, like what do I know about nodes? I mean, as far as I know, a node is that thing when if you split open the radio or if you split open the TV and you're looking at the motherboard, you see a physical node. I mean, for people like me, that's the most I can think of when you're talking about nodes and intermissions and everything. So, where was I? Yes, so when you're talking to a technical person, use all the technical grammar he or she understands. If you're creating an SOP for implementation, SOP is like a standard operating procedure. If you're leaving technical instructions that this is how you do this is how you connect this is how you integrate this system with another system, this is how you implement this protocol with this protocol, then please, by all means, use technical language. Because the person who is going to be using that standard operating procedure The person who's going to be implementing that system will be a technical person. So the person needs to know exactly and precisely what am I connecting to what is integrating with where, and which version of this am I optimizing for what. So the person needs to know. Then it is also appropriate to use technical lingo sometimes when you're trying to show that you're credible, show that you're competent. But that's usually in special circumstances. So use it sparingly. Don't use technical lingo all the time just to show that you know what's up or that you're the big cheese. You get my point. So the summary of what it is I'm trying to say is that the natural tendency when it comes to folks in this space, Web3, fintech, tech, startup, whatever, the natural tendency seems to be to appear that you are smart. And that's not a problem. I get that feeling because, everybody wants to appear that they're smart. And then again, why in Nigeria, you know how it is now. I started off in the wedding photography space. So there's an eye that somebody can be looking at you as, oh, this one is a common photographer. Or, okay, this one is calling himself entrepreneur. That means he was not smart enough to get a job. This guy is unemployed or whatever. So I get it. You want to apply, you want to appear smart. But what you should be aiming for is to sound competent, sound relatable, and to sound knowledgeable and no more, so that you can get your potential customers on board, get your investors on board, get the operators on board, get the stakeholders on board. In fact, especially the operator bit, because unfortunately, I'm just being frank and candid with you. We all know how Nigeria is. It's not everybody in CBN or Ministry of Finance or Securities and Exchange Commission or whichever body it is that you're talking to. It's not everybody that is going to understand all these technical jazz that you're talking about. So keep it simple. Look for metaphors. Speak in terms of benefits. Don't speak in terms of features, and you should be fine. So thanks for your time and attention. Connect with me on WhatsApp. The phone number is 080-6466-2140. The country code is +234. Also connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Tavishima Ayede. I'm the host of the show. You can confirm the spelling of my name from the link we're currently listening to this episode. So thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next episode.